John here from 3D Quick Tutorials. Welcome to this channel. So this will be the final part of this build out of this robotic hand. And I'm going to show you kind of work around with the finger. So yeah, this finger is, kind of already changed, and we've already done a actual quadri mesher on it. And again, I'm not really happy about the end here, but that's okay. We can kind of get around that. And one thing I'm going to do here is just kind of get myself into a better, situation here, where I kind of got the form on the side, and we can see where we're at, right? I want to unhide the character that we had in earlier just to get an understanding of reference, right? So if I go in here and unhide this, you can kind of see that if we put this back in this mode, this is where your joints are, right? So you got to keep that in mind wherever we're going to be, bending your finger. So the hand or the finger will bend here as well as here. So that's a good understanding, of what we need to do. So with that said, you could either put a sticky here or something like that just to give yourself a good reference, so you kind of know where to cut this at, right? So if I'm going to base my, understanding here, I might zoom in a little bit more, and I would say something like right here. So we can unhide that. So we're actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're around 6 or 7 of those squares, right? So we can now hide this. So we go to 6 or 7 right about here or here. And we could actually just make that into a edit mode and see what we got. So right here, right about here is right where that joint will be. So keep that in mind when you're building this stuff, kind of where things will bend. So this is good to understand. And we could actually go in and kind of just add a little bit more in here. One way to do that is we can go and add a loop cut. So we can do something like this and like this. Okay. And now that we've done that, I can go back in here now and just take this away. Right in here is kind of like the area to get rid of. Okay. So we can go to polys. We can select this right here and take that whole loop away. So again, select it, delete it with the delete key, hit the faces, and there we go. So that's kind of like where, about right, 6 or 7. Now, this is another important one. I would say it's probably right in here. Let's go ahead and hide this, and you'll see the knuckles right here, right? So it would be somewhere around where that line is. And again, it's right in the center of that, right? So that's not going to help us much, but we kind of just need to, again, do the same thing here. We're going to go back to object mode. We're going to go ahead and edit mode here. And we could start working this. So let's go ahead and loop cut this again. We're going to go right where the joint is, right there and there. And this time, we can go back to faces, and you'll see that we can just get rid of this here. So Alt key and Alt key. We could take both of these away if we wanted to. So delete faces. So now we got kind of our form. And yeah, that's just that simple, right? We got a way to kind of do that. Let's go ahead and hide this and see what we have. So there we go. So we kind of got our finger now kind of separated. And yeah, that makes it really easy to work with now. Now, we can close these up if we want and send them out, or just leave them the way they are. And I'm okay with just leaving them the way they are. That's fine. And let's just go ahead now and export this again. So object mode, we're going to export this just the way it is. Export, OBJ. We're going to call this modified finger 1 or something like that. And we're going to keep it on the actual Z and on the Y, just like we did before. Overwrite, and there we go. Now back in plasticity, we go back in here. We can see the hand, and let's see if it comes in the right way it should. Import, finger modified, and there we go. Yeah, see it right there? It's there. So it's kind of hard to tell because of this. So once you do this, it kind of is able to work with, right? So don't get discouraged if you can't see it. It's normally there. Just back up a little bit. All right. So here, we're going to go back in now, hit the F key. Again, we're going to select the poly splines. And there we go. So yeah, cool. So let's continue to build this thing out now and have some fun. And yeah, we're good with what we got here. So let's go ahead and modify these things. Hit OK. And we can start off with just giving it some forms. So Alt key, Shift J, and close it up. And the purpose of this is to close these all up so we can add something to it. So again, Shift J, there we go. And then these other two, same thing. Alt key, Shift J. Shift J. And there we go. So all those are done. I'm also going to close this up too because it's not going to work very well unless I do that. Shift J. All right, cool. So we got the form, and we know that we're going to bend right. Basically, this is going to kind of come together with the hand, right? This is bending right here, and this is bending right here. So it gives you a better understanding. And a good way to understand that is just to add in now some joints to support that. One great thing about poly splines is that we can now go in and kind of just modify this. So we can add in like a disc or something into the middle here. So let's say you're going to most likely bend from like the top of the joint right about here. We kind of just bring this out like this and get it set up basically. And we can do the same thing over there. So we have a little bit of rotation and we're going to go through here. Now, I would suggest that you kind of just hit OK first and then extrude this through. And we can see kind of what that looks like from the side. Just make sure that it looks like that's kind of where you want to bend your finger. So here would be about where your joint is. So on the top of your finger, if you look at it, it bends from upper top, kind of not near the middle, but a little bit higher, even though you think it would be the top, but it actually, when you bend it, it forms inside. So we could hit OK. We could also take this here and delete it. We don't need that no more. We can also take this and do a Shift D here and move it over and do the same thing over here. Now I would shrink this down a little bit so we can actually be more, smaller to the existing hand. So it's kind of, it's more closely, matching. So right there, hit OK, GG, move it in a little bit down farther. Again, I kind of want it to bend right there. And you can just adjust your bones if you need to once you get your character set up. Okay, so this is your first start. You want to kind of go in and modify this. A few things that I would do too is I would have, like, these two should be connected in a sense, because that way when you rotate, the whole hand is, connected to this piece. And we can get away with that now just by, taking this form and this form here and just combining them together. We could union them together. So let's do that for fun. So here, Q, hit OK. And now we have one object, right? So let's go to the top here so we see what we're doing. And we kind of want to go back in and just modify the ends. I'm going to go ahead and deselect that one and just kind of bring this in as close as I can. So we can get a little closer. We don't want it to go past the edge. We want to get it close to the edge. All right, so we can do the same thing here. Just select this, bring this in, and get it real close to the edge. There we go. So now we got kind of a form. Now, depending on what you're doing, we could also, make a copy of this if we wanted to. It might have been better to do that because once you kind of do all this stuff, or we could just take these two pieces. Let's just say you didn't make a copy of it like I did here. We can just take two of these, right? Shift D them. Just quickly, easily make that, right? And we don't have to worry about redoing everything. So I could hide this for a second. We could take this one, and just L key it, and it's fine the way it is. So there we go. We can select this now, delete it, and we can select this one here, delete it. Now you notice that it's open, so we'd have to go back in. Like I said, it's easier if you do it all at once, make a copy, so you don't have to do it twice. But since I made the mistake here, I'm going to go Shift G it, and the same thing on the other side. So select it, do Alt key, Shift J, and there we go. All right, so that's pretty simple to understand, right? And what I would do here again is I would go ahead and kind of modify this by looking at some opportunities here. I would also kind of just take this form. We're going to make this a lot of fun here. So this is take the actual object form, select it, Shift D this, right? We're going to make a copy 005. And I'm going to take this now and just cut it. So Q and hit OK. And now that's been cut, I have this other form here, which is separate, which is 005. And you kind of go in and just make this more like a interior piece kind of, So how would we do that? I would suggest that we kind of just make this a little bit bigger. So scale it up a little bit, 2 S's, just to kind of encroach into this. There we go. And we can go down to the top, Z, and I can just start cutting this. So I want this to be kind of like in the center of this joint somewhat. I'm going to go right about here, straight down, like that. And then Shift D it. You can keep like this kind of like form here, like this. Cool. All right, so we got those 2 lines. Make 2 more lines. So Shift D and bring them over here. Kind of like, it doesn't have to be exact, but close. So there we go. So we got kind of a way to cut this now. So take this C key and then cut these out, hit OK. I'm going to take this one, and this one and delete them. We don't need those anymore. And we got like a little section to cut into. Okay. So this is kind of helpful because now we got our finger. We can go back in and select these lines and just delete those. Okay, so let's unhide that piece that we had earlier. And we can see that we got some way to kind of combine these together with this. All right, so what are we going to do now to make this look nice? First of all, I'm going to go in, select the object selection right here, and I'm going to take these right now and hide them for a second. I want to see what I'm doing. So let's select the line right here. Pull this out on the plus. I don't want to go too much with it, but about there. Now that that's done, I can do the whole thing. So select it. We start pull this out on the plus. I don't want to go too much with it. Because again, mechanical forms normally don't have a really very smooth section. It's like a little section that's maybe rounded. And you can't, again, it depends what you want. So let's go ahead and go with that first. Okay. So let's unhide the other piece. As you'll see here, I got to kind of work this out as well. So let me just do this now. I'm going to go ahead and smooth this out with the plus. I might go with like maybe let's do 2. Just looks like it's formed together, right? So that's helpful. So let's go ahead again, hide this. And we can now unhide some things. So let's just do this and this. All right, so now I've made this, round shapes. And I'm going to re-add this to this part of the finger here. So we're going to select this right here and Shift Alt all 3 or 4 of these so we get them all selected. And we're going to pull this out and make it nice and rounded, kind of like this. And I'm good with that because I'm going to connect them together in a sense. So if you have problems with them connecting properly, you might need to adjust a few things. And that might be because I just made, these might be just too close or something's not working right with these, rotation of this or whatever it might be. So we could just kind of adjust it a little bit. So I'm going to undo till I get back to the point where before I actually added in these nice rounded fillets. I'm going to bring this out again, but not nearly as much. I'm going to try to keep it within the line here, in the line here. And this is, yeah, that's within the line. So we should be good. So let's stay with that now and try this again. It's just the way things work sometimes. So select all 3. Let's go ahead now. We got all 3 selected, right? Q, Q. And let's do its thing. Okay, it stopped. And just hit OK. And let it do whatever it's got to do. Okay. So now, you see right here, hide this. It did not go. I don't know why, but this worked, but this did not. So if you have something like this, sometimes it makes a separate copy, right? So we can just delete this one. It's really kind of sometimes hard to figure out, but we just got to make sure that now we can do this again. So again, unhide this one. Let's try this again. So this one, Q, Q, and said OK. See, now it kind of added it together. And there we go. Left click out of there, and now we can select it and delete it. See, now it's got its own form. Yeah, it's a little weird how it does that, but it's all good. So we can go in now and just kind of modify this a little bit more. We're going to be seeing this line here, so we definitely don't want to keep that line. I would also suggest that we do a Shift Alt here, so it goes all the way around. Shift Alt, and Shift Alt. And we can also go around this and this. All right, there we go. So got everything selected. Now we can pull this out a little bit as well on the plus, not too much, because it might cause a problem in there. It's like a weld, you know what I mean? So there we go. We take the line off now, see what we got. Yeah, I think that looks really sharp. It looks like a separate object. Cool. All right, so now that we've done that, we could just see what this is going to look like. I don't like this boxiness here. That's one thing I do not like. And we could either take this form and cut it. I think that might look better. I don't like the way this is shaping. Again, it's a lot of times you just got to figure out what works for you in your design. I'm going to hide this for now. But I really don't like this. It sticks way too far out. I might make this kind of a see-through. Just to see what's going on here. I can hide this one too. Yeah, I just think I don't like the way this is shaping. I think if I kind of go to, let's see what we can do here by just taking this form and pulling it in and see what we can get out of it. So let's just pull that in. And if we go past the point, I mean, it's fine. It's just something we got to keep, aware of. Let's try this one too. Get to the point where I'm actually connected to it. There we go. And yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it. And it makes it more squarish, but I think we can get away with this by now just taking this section and kind of modifying it. All right, so let's see what we can do with this. So I'm going to select here. That one's already done. I'm going to select this too, Alt. And I think, first of all, I'll select this one. This one is done. Now, let's do this. Let's make this nice and rounded, like that. All right. And then we can take these and move this out so it's nice and rounded. Again, the objective here is to kind of get a nice rounded form everywhere. So let's select this one. See how it went all the way around now? That's kind of what we wanted. And now I could just pull this out on the plus. Kind of like that. All right, cool. Now it's nice and smooth and round. And I like that because it's like something we can kind of use to connect this to now. So let's go ahead and unhide the piece that we just did. And you see how this is now forming, kind of like more like a within this zone. Okay. Yeah, I think we could definitely do some other work here to make it look nice. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this for now. This piece, hide. And we're going to go here and just kind of add in a nice circle. Do this now. So when we cut it, it actually has a nice centerpiece. I'm going to do something like this. Hit OK. Select this. C key. Select this. Hit OK. And we can delete those. Delete. All right. All right, cool. And we can now go back in here and hide this. And I think it would be nice if we just take this now and take this and cue it just like that. But we're going to keep the object. So keep tool, hit OK. All right, so that has gone in now, and we can now hide this and see what it's done, right? It's created those little joints. That's exactly what we needed. Very cool. Now, what I would do here, once we have this actually the way it is, I would take away these sections right here. We can just shift. Actually, we just take each of these and kind of go down and delete this. So delete these because I kind of want to modify this. This one, and this one. Delete. We're going to make these back to a straight line. So that's fine, and this one's not. So let's go here. Select this one, and this one, and delete. So this way I can kind of just get this all back to line up properly. Now this is a problem. So let's just select this whole thing again, right here. Select. If you can't see it, put your lines back on, right? You can definitely tell there's an issue. It will be an issue if I don't do this now. Delete. Okay. So we got all those done now. We can simply go in and just select all this to make it really nice now that we've done that. So select it. Select this one, Shift Alt. We could do this. See how it's going around now? Select this one. Cool. So that actually did what it's supposed to do. This one and this one. So it's going all the way around. All right, so let's modify this now. We'll pull this out on the plus. Let me go back a little bit. Something like this. Might even go a little bit less. Let's just go with like, I think like 2 or 1 even. Go with 1. There we go. Hit OK. Okay, so now that we've done that, now if I unhide this section, you'll see that it's becoming more noticeable that it's a separate object. That's kind of what the idea is, to make it look like it's not part of it. All right, so what else can we do with this shape? So it's kind of cool. It's like a separate form. This is a little bit more of a rounded, and I'm okay with that. You can go in here now and just go to the side. Just go side here. Again, we could do something like this. Now I kind of want to bring one a little bit bigger, right about here. And I can now bring this out with the blue. I'm going to do a Shift D to this and bring this in. We're going to scale this twice. Kind of like that. Cool. And now we can just go simply like, select this face, hit the L key. And now we got a nice form. And the thing is, we want to make sure that this goes all the way through, right? So we can hit OK. Let me just go ahead and select this, delete it, delete. The problem is it's just not going to work for us. I need to kind of bring either this out and in. I think that would be fine. So let's go ahead now, take this and move it inward into the space. Now, if we go to the G key or Z key, we can see that what we got going on here. Let's see how this is kind of like not barely penetrating to that. It is going to go through it. So as long as it gets through that line, see that line? We got to make sure that that penetrates. Otherwise, we're not going to see the inside of that joint. The problem with this again is it's really big. So I'm going to cancel that. See, this is not the way I want it. Control Z. I'm going to go back a couple. I kind of want to keep this form. And I'm just going to extrude this instead. So E, extrude. Because I want to keep a smaller, like, cut into this. Otherwise, it's just going to be too aggressive. So let's go and pull this out on the plus. Just like that. All right, cool. So now we can bring this in again. Go back to the Z. And see how this line goes in? Okay, I think I'm good with this right here. We go to this side. We can do a mirror. And I'm going to hit the F key right down the center of this, just like that. Okay. So let's do this now. This, and this. Q key. Hit OK. And I could have deleted that, but that's all right. Okay, this is very helpful because now I can see the joint inside. So when this rotates around this, it will work. All right, so let's go ahead and modify some more things. So this one here, and this one. Let's make this more rounded. Control Z. I think I could even go with more of a chamfer first. I think that would look nice. Hit OK. Then we can do this, this, and this. Pull this out on the plus now. There we go. Cool. And now we have two different forms. Okay. So now let's select this one, hide it. And you'll see that we have this here. And it goes all the way through because it's part of the unit, right? Let's see if we can modify this a little bit more. So we can select the line like this. You can do a Shift D on this and hit OK. We could now hit the P key here to create a pipe. And we could bring this down. Something like that. Hit OK. And I could make a copy of this. So we're going to do a mirror. F key again, right down the center, just like that. Okay, cool. So let's go and now use this to see if we can make this look a little nicer. So take this Q key. I'm not going to keep this. Okay. Same thing here. This one, Q key. Okay. All right. So we got this now. We have this one. Let's go ahead and make this into a chamfer. Cool. And then we can go here and select this one, Shift Alt, and make this into more of a rounded form. There we go. And we could hide those lines. And we can get rid of this. So delete this. There we go. So pretty cool. This kind of rotates inward. Now, a good way to make sure that it's going to work for us, right, is testing the theory. And that's important because if you do all this stuff and it doesn't work, then you got to go backwards, right? So this might be a little bit too much detail. I might have to cut a slice of this off because, again, this has to rotate, right? So if I hit the R key and then I use the V key, I could get right on the center of this. This is where it's going to rotate. And when I pull this in, you see how it could only go there? So you kind of almost need to reduce some of that, right? If I want to go all the way like this, then I kind of need to take this whole chunk out, right? So again, it's just, you got to think these things through as you do it. So I would definitely take a chunk of this out because that way when it rotates around, it won't be a problem. All right, so let's do that next. Let's hide this for a second. As you'll see here, it's all rounded, right? But that's okay. Let's go ahead and bring a line across. We could do something, let's just do something like this. I'm going to go over here. Something like this. I can even do something like this. I can take these 2 points here and just make them rounded. B key. And again, there's a lot of experimentation. I'm trying to make designs. Now let's go ahead and select this. C key. And just get rid of this piece. Hit OK. And there we go. Delete. Right? And we can go back in. Again, we always want to try to get the look back the way we had it. So it just looks nice. Okay. Let's pull this out now. Not too much. Maybe something like that. There we go. And let's see how this reads now with this other shape in here. So you don't really see that. And I think that looks a lot better because we can now rotate the form. Again, you got to kind of just figure out a good way to do this. Rotate. V. Actually, you can do this as well. And just rotate it around and see how that works. See how that it kind of cuts in right here. And just something to be, understanding that you can't really rotate this whole thing, unless you cut out a lot of stuff in here. So Control Z. And another way you get ready around this is to cut out a part of this as well. So, I mean, that's definitely an option. Let's see what this would look like if I do that. Hide. So, again, this is formed already, but we can kind of go in there and do the same thing. Let's just do this. So let's already have it, G key. And we could do something like R. And we could do something like this, G key, right along that edge there. So it kind of looks blocky a little bit. I think that would look kind of nice. So let's try this and see how this works. I'll take this, C key, take this, get rid of it. All right, so we can delete this now. Again, we got a harsh form now and a soft form, so let's clean this up. Sometimes you have to go backwards a lot to fix something after you do it, but let's do this. Now let's make this more plus. Just going to go with a little bit, like 1. I think that looks good. Not sure if I like this, but let's see how that reads. Okay, let's unhide this again. See, I don't really like this right here. Control Z. Let me try this again. Maybe if I do a little bit more on the plus. Try with 2. So that did not work. So, okay. So what we can do is, let's just try something else. So I undid that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these sections here, just see if I can actually extrude this out a little bit more. Now it didn't work right, so we can go with maybe, let's just do it with 1. I just want to get a little bit more of a lip there. I think that would be good right there. Okay, now let's try this again. Alt, just trying to get a little bit more of that edge, just so it just doesn't look so, doesn't look so crappy. I think that would look better. So yeah, see, I was able to do a little bit more on that. One thing I don't like is this piece right here. Okay, let's try this. So when you're going to make a modification, you're going to be like this far away from the hand. If you're going to be really, really close, then you might worry about something like this. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to, work this stuff. It still looks really nice. I just don't want to go too far backwards. So yeah, I think I'm good with this. And let's test it out now. See how this looks. So if I take this, rotate it, V key, right in the center here. And if I rotate this now, you'll see that I can kind of just get right in there. Like if it was completely bent. Again, if you do your own finger, you don't go too far because it has constraints. And this has constraints as well. You could only go that rotation. And this one will be even more of a rotation. But this also rotates, right? So I think this is fine. I might go a little bit less, like right here. All right, so I think I'm good with that. So let's go ahead and undo. Cool. So we got the finger, and let's go ahead and now continue with the other tip. And we'll build this out. First of all, I'm going to take this now and just make it nice and smooth. And when I combine the hand to this section, I would add in like a joint into this. All right, so let's continue. Unhide the tip. And yeah, there we go. So again, it's kind of the same process as what we just did. We're going to connect this together. I'm going to fast forward this because I don't want to have to do it again, the same process over again. But just for awareness, I'll do this in a speed mode so you can see the process. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. And if you like these type of tutorials, please like and subscribe. All right. Have a great day. Thanks.